Hello Sarah. Hi Annabelle. Have you seen the glogs we get to analyze for EDUC1751? They're great, yes, but are they really that good? A great glog needs to incorporate all components of the quality teaching model, you're right. I'm not sure that they all do. For example, the fantasy glog. Fantasy does little to connect a student's prior knowledge in real-world situations. Furthermore, this glog does not include any indigenous myths or legends which are essential in a 21st century Australian classroom for students to connect to their country culturally. Exactly. The glog also does not allow students to incorporate any fantasy stories they are familiar with, which ignores a student's background knowledge. Also, students in Stage 4 are not equipped with their own personal laptop, so finding the correct resources for this lesson could be difficult in some schools. The glog also does not provide enough direction for the students in terms of meta language. What do you mean? Well, the glog does not cover enough conventions of a fantasy narrative. It makes the assumption that students know the structure and meta language of fantasy. I see what you mean. The glog does not provide any key terms like journey, hero, anti-hero, villain, story arc, or any of the other more complex terms students need to acknowledge when writing a fantasy story at a Stage 4 level. This is important as students will continue to use this meta language throughout their education. Also, the tasks are so disjointed that students do not have a chance to elaborate their understanding in a sustained and substantive fashion. This is not quality teaching, or quality learning. The writing task did give an example of another student's work which provided explicit quality criteria for the students to follow an example in their own work. That's a great point, Annabelle. I think that if this glog is supported by another lesson on the structure and conventions of fantasy, then the fairy tale rewrite task can lead to deep knowledge and deep understanding of the subject. This task also gives students a chance to exercise some direction over their learning and be creative. However, the conceptual risks are limited due to some over-direction in explanation. The glog does not really focus on a number of key concepts in the subject or between key learning areas. The task does not provide any examples of fantasy apart from film fantasy and fairy tales. This doesn't allow students to have a rounded, complete understanding of the concept. The teacher would need to cover more of the genre of fantasy. This could be easily remedied and put in the original glog so students had a single place of reference. The rewrite task, The Story of Little Red Cap, provides them with the opportunity to give alternative perspectives and demonstrates how the construction of knowledge relates to their understanding of the task. How does it do this? By allowing students to write a fairy tale from a different perspective while still using the key conventions of a narrative. That's right. Also, the evaluation of their own storyboard task provides an opportunity for higher-order thinking and also encourages intellectual rigor as students are directed to reflect on their own work. I guess the task has its good points and its bad points. Yes, the task does provide opportunities for students to connect with their prior knowledge of technologies and use this to connect with higher-order thinking, deep knowledge and deep understanding. This connection with students' understanding of technology can be brought forth and furthered in the second assignment by drawing inspiration from the writing tasks that do encourage student creativity and creating a more interactive element. However, it is very hard for this to be a student-directed as the glog is tricky to navigate and at times difficult to read. With not enough direction to navigate through the site and too much direction in the tasks, students are not encouraged to be creative and take conceptual risks. I think with some refinement this could be an innovative and effective tool in the study of Stage 4 fantasy. Let's dance.